IBL, we're on a mission. Controversial discussion, from family addition to money to marriage, and it's What's in between the lines?
Girl, yes, we're gonna talk about it all. Family, blended family, how hard it was for us to blend together. We're gonna talk about money. We're even gonna talk about emotional affairs, girl. I can't wait.
What's up, everybody? I'm AD.
And I'm Sharee, and welcome back to a part two of the episode that we did last week. Listen, we feel like this is such an important topic that we don't want to rush it, and we didn't want it to be 3 hours long either. Yeah, because it was getting there.
We want to keep you guys engaged, right? And so we can talk because we have a lot that we've gone through.
We got something to say.
I'm gonna say it.
We're gonna say it,
right?
But yeah.
Go ahead, babe.
No, go ahead.
And so, but we want to keep you guys engaged. And so, the crazy thing is we're getting people to say, nah, it's not too long. We get what you hear society saying that you can only keep people's attention for a certain amount of time, even if the content is good, they'll continue to watch, but how many times will you still lose them because they're cooking, they're doing other things? And so, listen, part two is here anyway.
Yeah, so part two is here. We're talking about healthy boundaries, setting healthy boundaries to avoid emotional affairs if you're married. For a single person, healthy boundaries, we're going to really get into that today, is very crucial.
Yeah.
It may not be, or it could be the same, like making sure that you don't find yourself in an emotional affair with someone.
Yeah.
Or in a relationship that you really intended not to be in.
Right. That's good.
And so,
before we get started, make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell icon, and share the link.
Yes. Share
Unfortunately, we're not giving away any gear today.
Yeah, we're not giving any gear away, but that's cool. They still love us. They still love us.
Maybe next time.
We'll see.
Come on, let's get it in.
So we're talking about the importance of healthy boundaries, really honestly in relationships.
So,
right?
Yes.
But in the context of a marriage, a context of dating, and apparently like the terms have changed. Like dating is not dating anymore. Like the way our generation said dating was, that's really, you're with the person, I think. Like if you're dating the person, you're like boyfriend and girlfriend.
Yeah.
But our dating back, when we said dating back in the day, it was just like, oh, I'm dating him, but that don't mean like we exclusive.
You still my girlfriend.
That don't mean we exclusive. I could be dating a couple people. No, like, oh, I went on a date with Joe just to
we
get
ain't
to know
talking about
Joe.
your past.
No. I'm saying, like, that's how the terminology was. But
it has changed.
It has changed over time, and the connotation has changed. But in the context of what we're saying, you're getting to know someone, right?
Yeah.
And you like this person, though. You like this person. What are some suggested, healthy boundaries?
I took your breath away.
I took my breath away.
Yeah.
Woo.
Anyway.
What are some suggested healthy boundaries that couples that are dating can implement while they're in that courtship phase?
Okay, so one thing, you got to make sure that you communicate and have this. This is a very important conversation on, is it okay to have other friends? So we want to start there.
Man, that's like kind of, what do you think about that? Well, all right, so what do you mean as other friends? So
like okay, so let's use for instance, okay, other friends of the opposite sex.
Yeah.
Right? And so you have couples that some say, I don't know why I can't still have, Joe over here. We've been friends since middle school. Mm-hmm. Right? And he ain't talking about, but the guy's not saying, I see Joe as the middle school friend, and every once in a while you see him in the grocery store still.
Yeah.
This guy is saying, I'm not cool with this Joe thing because there was a point where you guys may have been intimate or may have thought about it. You tried to date each other.
Yeah.
And that's, to me, that's uncomfortable.
Yeah, that was our situation. I had a friend, and he was really, really, really a friend.
Mm-hmm.
and like, we would talk about each other's different relationships. There was a point in our past where we crossed boundaries. You know what I mean? We were intimate, but we were realized like, oh no, we shouldn't. That's not. We're better as friends. Right. And we became really, really, really good friends. And then I met Arnold. We met and got married in 6 months. Now we would go out, like he would pick me up, my son, but it was nothing. It was very platonic. We just have a ball. And I remember when we got married, you was like, you have to cut that relationship off. Right. And I ain't gonna lie, y'all, I was pissed.
I know.
I was pissed. I was hurt but looking back, it would have been a very extremely unhealthy dynamic. And it probably would have ended up being like an emotional affair because we talked about everything.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And there was, looking back at that relationship, there was a soul connection that I had with him. And I'll tell you what it was. When I was dating the guy that was very abusive, he would come, because he was in college, he would come pick me up. He would he just like, I feel like God used him honestly to speak life into me. Like, he'd be like, you deserve better. He was almost like a savior in a sense.
I hear you. God will send those in your path.
You know what I'm saying? And he was very instrumental in pulling me away from that relationship.
Yeah.
And so once I finally got out of that relationship, he still was there. Our friendship even grew stronger, strictly friends.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to keep him. I wanted to, and it hurt him. He didn't understand. Like, he was
understood.
And he was like, I could talk to him and explain. Like,
no, that wouldn't have been good. Chill, homie.
No, but he was somebody that I loved platonically.
Right, but so when we first met, up from the first time we met till now, we hang out, we hang together.
Yeah.
We talk, we hang together, we play basketball together, we shoot pool together, like we became the friends. So because you talked to me about him, I knew it was going to be unhealthy. Because
the way I was explaining it?
Yeah, because yes, the kind of friends you guys were.
Yeah.
I thought that's not going to be good.
Yeah.
And here's what I knew I was going to be doing. I knew I was going to be competing for space.
Well, my hope was that, all right, like, we got married, then he gets married, and you ever watch those movies, and then now it's like two couples that, go out and do date nights. Like, that was what I envisioned. You know what I mean?
Nah.
But I agree. Like, we've been married. That was 18, 19 years ago. And it would have been very unhealthy because, this is someone that I liked just as a person. Like, they were fun. There was a emotional, you know what I'm saying, with him, where it was like that savior complex thing, like, was there. I remember because you were like, did you tell him, like,
It took a minute that you
it hurt. I'm not gonna lie, y'all.
But what did I do?
It hurt.
I gave you a little. You didn't take very long. That I know of. You didn't take very long, and I gave you the space to do that because I understood you guys were the best friends.
We
right?
were. We became very close. So that really hurt. And so here's one thing that I think that we have to acknowledge is that out of someone else's emotions and feelings, I have to consider my husband. And you know what I'm saying? And vice versa. Like, if there's a relationship that he has that is making me uncomfortable, or, I feel like I'm competing for a voice, or I'm competing for space, or whatever, then I think that there's an unhealthy component of that relationship as it connects to a marriage.
Right.
And again, last episode, we talked about how easy it is to slip into this like emotional affair state, and you don't even realize it. Like, one of the symptoms was that you intimately connect to someone, and they're validating, you're validating. Basically, someone is feeling a need, and that is made and created for that husband or spouse to feed.
Yeah.
Right. And that can happen by accident, guys. Like, I don't want you to feel like, if you ever found yourself, or heck, maybe you find yourself in this situation now, I don't think, unless you're troubled and really broken and you just like a narcissist, I don't think people wake up and say, I'm going to get in an emotional affair today. I'm going to intentionally cheat on my wife, right? Or my husband. I'm talking about healthy people that love their spouses, that don't want to find themselves in an adulterous relationship.
Right.
It's still very easy, if you don't have healthy boundaries, to find yourself in this category called you're having an emotional affair.
So these emotional affairs can happen in two ways. If you are yourself, you need help because you got issues.
Right. I mean,
that's one.
And that could be real too. Like you like the attention of multiple men.
Right.
Or you like the attention of multiple women.
Or there's a void and you slip into a situation where the void is being filled
by someone else.
And so that's hard because
it is hard.
Yeah, because how many marriages have been ruined because of this? No, not because of the one that he has an issue, but what about the other part, the other one, where it was unintentional, and I still don't think it's a reason to have an emotional affair. Like, I understand it happens.
I think that I don't know. I haven't looked up the statistics connected to emotional affairs, but I would bet to believe that most people are in the emotional affair not realizing it. Like then at some point they're like, "Oh my God, I think this is an emotional affair."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Versus physical, it's a little bit different. It's like, unless you're drugged, like that, oh, I am taking off my clothes, like. You know what I'm saying? Emotional affair is like, what's up? What?
Right.
It can happen so very unassumingly and unintentionally.
Yeah.
That you have to intentionally, again, unless you're under the influence, you have to intentionally engage someone physically versus an emotional connection that just sometimes happen because you like the person.
Who's to blame?
What do you mean?
Who's to blame in the unintentional ones? Is he the blame?
What do you mean? Like the spouse or the person that you're having the
spouse? Is the spouse who is having the emotional affair, or the spouse who is creating the void, who's like ignoring?
Man.
Who is the blame?
That's a totally different perspective. I don't think it's about blame. I don't think it's about blame because
somebody's going to get blamed.
But I hear you, but in the context, like the reason why I say it's not blame is because
put in the comments, y'all, who's to blame?
Who's to blame? The reality is, I am not going to be able to fulfill every void that you have. I'm not. I ain't God. I'm not Jesus Christ.
No, you're right, and vice versa, But what if the void was talked about over and over and over and over, but the spouse, whether it be him or her, either one, is like ignoring it,
or can't. Like it may not even be ignoring, but we
don't even try.
We get into a whole nother episode. That's a good episode. Like what do you do? But I don't think, in the context of this conversation, I think that's a catalyst for sure. I think that's a trigger for sure. You know what I'm saying? And there's
who's to blame?
There's an open door. It all goes back to covering your spouse.
Yeah.
When the Bible even says, wives, don't withhold yourselves from your husband.
You cover me very well.
Husbands, don't withhold yourselves from your wives. Right. So when we withhold ourselves, babe, stop. When we withhold ourselves, I leave you uncovered.
I agree.
You leave me uncovered.
I agree.
Right? Or that's in the context of sex. But let's talk about in the context of...
Yeah, but not just sex.
No. I know. I said that's just sex. But let's talk about, you can leave your spouse uncovered in if their love language is quality time or not seating them or not supporting them and not, conversating and stimulating them in their, in their mentals, right? so many ways that we can leave our spouses uncovered. But even though I'm uncovered, that does not justify. Yes, it's a trigger. Yes, it's a catalyst. Yes, I'm hurting. Yes, I need validation. Yes to everything. But that still does not give me the right to slip into an adulterous affair, whether it be emotional or physical.
One of the
so
ways.
that's why I said
I agree.
I still have to own my responses.
I see what you're saying now. I agree with you. I think one of the ways that that people slip into these emotional affairs is they get frustrated because the spouse isn't covering, right?
Mm-hmm.
They get very, very frustrated, and then they are not mindful of their emotions,
Yeah.
right? When they're away from their spouse.
Listen, and I feel like the enemy, the very thing that you're lacking, the enemy gonna send in Becky. Because I probably wasn't cooking at that time.
No, you weren't. But
Right. She like, listen, the enemy done whispered in Becky's ear and make him some lasagna. Like, and it may not be like
I'm not
cooking.
eating.
But you know what I'm saying. It may not be cooking, but it could be, you know what I'm saying, like...
Whatever.
It could be a mutual thing. So like maybe you have a desire. Like maybe you're like, I love videography, right?
Right.
And every time you talk about that topic with your husband, he's like, yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, it feels patronizing, but
Completely
you can't.
absent.
Right, completely absent, but you really don't get anything fulfillment out there. But then you go to work, and for some reason, you and John click over photography.
Right.
You talking about the lighting and oh my gosh, the aperture, like I'm just using language that I heard. And you're just like, there's something that is being fed in you with this conversation with John. And then one day you're like, John kind of cute.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I never noticed. John kind of cute.
With that camera.
Again, I don't think that she woke up that morning and said, I'm going to have an emotional affair with John. I think that there's a frustration, there's a void of conversation, of mutuality, maybe with her husband and her spouse. And then she finds herself in a very awkward situation with John in the office.
Okay, I'm going to say something that you're not going to agree with, probably. And I know in the comments, y'all going to throw some tomatoes.
That's okay.
The excuse, I'm not going to be able to fulfill your every void, is sometimes an excuse. Like,
but it's true.
I'm not saying that it's not true, but because we as society has allowed that to be a crutch, and we all agree with that, it also seems like it gives the license to not try.
No, I think that now you're dealing with a different issue.
No.
Listen, I think if the person doesn't try, then that is an exposure, or that to me that's an exposure of a heart condition, right? That we're not talking about that person.
We're talking about all the above.
Okay, but I don't, you're right, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with the fact that we're saying you cannot fulfill 100% of my needs, I cannot fulfill 100% of your needs is an excuse to not try. I don't have that mindset.
To not try.
To not try, right? Now, listen, the frustration may come in because that person is not consistent, because they haven't made it a behavior. It hasn't become a habit and consistency for whatever reasons. There's we can sit here and talk about the reasons forever, but we're not talking about the person that doesn't want to try.
No, I'm saying that I'm just throwing out there that there are some that use that as an excuse and don't try.
And then now we're questioning if you want to be in a marriage, right? Like, I'm for real. Like, it's either, like, seriously, like, there are times we have to look people in the eye and be like, do you want to still be married? You know what I'm saying? Are you willing to do what it takes to take this marriage to the next level? Mm-hmm. And I question that if someone's like, yeah, I'm not gonna fulfill all your needs. So no, I'm not making you breakfast, or no, I'm not. I'm not going to have sex with you every week. I'm just not going to do it because I can't fulfill your needs. I think that person.
There are people that do. That's what I'm saying.
Well, I think their heart has already turned off. Like,
either way, it's happening.
Right. So now what? Like, well, how do we?
That's the question right there. Because
no, like there's no discussion. It's like we need to have that. Ask that person, do you want to still be married? Because how do we fit that in the context of what we're talking about? That's what
I've heard strange conversations between husbands and wives where one feels, I'm not even going to try because that's not something I do, or that's not something I'm not good at. And then he feels.
I mean, is there something specific that you want to?
No, that's not got to do with us.
Oh, well, because the reason why I'm saying that is because. I'm like,
what? What do you do?
Is there something specific you want to ask me to try? Because I'm like, you are driving this point home.
No, I'm just saying you can't ignore all the different areas. Like that's valid. Like you have voids not being met.
Yes.
Then you have voids not being met because
they don't want to.
Yes, and that's true. But then this, whether it be the male or the female, is out there empty.
I still don't think it gives you a right to just go cheat. Like,
I don't think it gives you a right to go. I don't think it gives you a right to go cheat.
Yeah.
But it also doesn't help the person.
It don't.
And it doesn't.
And it doesn't. But
so how do we got you got to speak to that too.
That's what God is for. Listen. It's either okay or divorce the person. Like, I mean, I don't know what else to say. Like, pray to God give you the grace or fulfill that need until that person does. I have a problem with someone saying they just won't. I do. Like, unless they're asking.
Not just saying it. It's not even about them saying they won't. They're just their actions. They're just like not even like. I remember when we were going through our stuff, I can tell you were trying.
Right.
That's different.
Yeah, I wasn't consistent, but I was trying.
No, I got to give credit to where it's due. Like I saw it. You were trying. But then there are situations where other people, where they don't even see them trying.
Okay, so what are you saying? Are they justified then to go out and have an affair?
No, here's my point.
Okay.
My point is, these are conversations I heard. That the spouse who's like, that ain't my thing, I'm not even trying, and they would say, well, that's something you got to ask God to just take away from you. That's why I said strange conversations. I've heard strange conversations.
I mean, okay, I don't know how else to solve that. Like, if we're sitting in front of a husband and wife, and the wife is like, I need my husband.
Mm-hmm.
My love language is touch, and I really need him to give me massages once or twice a week.
Well, yeah, but
okay, and the husband's like, my fingers hurt. I'm not doing it. I'm serious. All right, that would be the context of what you're saying, right?
Yes.
Okay.
All the time. Period.
He's like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm not. You're not gonna be able to. Yeah, I'm not. And so I don't know, honey. Go to a masseuse. I don't know.
It's a different kind of massage.
Okay.
And we're dealing with that's a different kind of massage.
Okay. All right. Well, maybe that was a bad example because you can get that somewhere else.
Right.
But all right. So something you can't get somewhere else. All right. So there's a heart condition. I don't think he wants to be married anymore. I think he's giving you some clues. If a man I'm serious. Like, I have never met a couple that, unless they didn't want to be married no more, they checked out somewhere. They're like, every time they're like, I know this hurts this person. I want to do this, and I'm going to try. But I've never heard someone say, sorry, I'm just not doing it. I'm not doing it.
You keep saying they saying it. They're not saying it. They're just
their actions are not doing
yes.
it. And then I mean, they need counseling. If that's your,
but they're not only not doing it. They're saying, look. You're gonna have to look. You need to pray. Ask the Lord to just help you with that. Maybe take that away. And
then they can say, well, I'm gonna pray that God changes your heart, because our role is to love and support and serve one another. So there's this reciprocation. And honestly, you can't make somebody do something even though you need it.
Right. I think we should also. Sometimes you have to tackle also what seems to be impossible. Some of the what do you do in these situations that are strange?
It is strange, but again, outside of counseling and honestly, really outside of asking God to change that person's heart, and communicating to them, there's nothing you could do.
You told Harpo to.
There's nothing you could do. I mean, what am I, if I'm saying to you, babe, I really need you to affirm me and to, tell me I'm beautiful. I'm just using examples because you do that. But I really need you to fill this void in me. Mm-hmm. And you're listening, but it just never happens. You know what I'm saying? I am vulnerable now. I am uncovered.
You're out there.
And more than likely, the enemy is going to send me, I don't know.
Go ahead. Come on with a name. I want to see this. Y'all want to hear this name?
I was going to come up with a name. The Holy Spirit said, you better not. You better not. I was going to come up with a name. But
I want to hear the name.
My mind went blank. So literally, I was going to come up with like a celebrity name. But then I was like, oh, God, then he going to think. So the enemy going to send somebody. Mr. Somebody is going to be like, girl, you fine. At the lunch table. Did anybody ever tell you? I mean, it's so. Listen, I don't know if I ever told you this story. There was this guy at my job. Mm-hmm. There was this guy at my job.
Oh.
I told you this story. But anyway.
No.
Nothing happened. It was not an emotional affair. No, it wasn't. Because I wouldn't reveal it on the podcast. That'd be messed up. But there was this guy at my job that he was fairly new, and he was in another department. And at the time, I was a leader, and he would I don't know. I would just find him staring at me.
You told me.
Yeah, I would find him staring at me from across the cubicle. And I used to have this mirror, so you could see behind. So I could see. I'm just like, this is so creepy. Mm. I would be in the lunchroom. I ate lunch by myself all the time because I'm a leader. I just didn't want to be bothered. And he would come, always come, and he was like, oh, do you mind if I sit here and stuff like that? And so I felt like it was becoming it was not emotional with me at all. I just felt like there was an odd pursuing on his end.
Okay.
And listen, I said, the devil is a liar. I literally said, Lord, I'm going to need you to remove him. I did. I prayed. I said, Lord, I'm going to need you to remove him. Because it was just weird. I'm not going to even lie. And 2 weeks later, he quit.
Boom.
Quit the job. But I say that all to say.
You know why he quit?
Because it was weird. I asked God I'm God's favorite, and what I asked.
Because
What?
He saw he couldn't get close.
It could be. I don't know. But I don't know you quit your job for that. They ain't listening. There's a whole bunch of other women in the business. But what I'm saying is that I do believe that there's power in prayer. I do believe that you do have to bring God, into your relationship, into your desires. Yeah. I don't know. That's what honestly has given me the grace, and I feel like it's giving you the grace for the years, the years that maybe you felt lacking in the area, and the years where I felt whatever in the area. I feel like there's grace there. God can give you the grace for that. I'm not saying it like Paul said it. Paul said, because of the grace, do you just keep sinning?
Right.
He said, heck no.
Right.
He didn't say heck no, but he basically was like, heck no. For there being no more, sacrifices for your sin.
Yeah.
It's like crucifying Christ over again.
Right.
So basically what he's saying is don't take advantage of grace in a sense. Don't take advantage just because there's grace doesn't mean it's not a license to sin.
Right.
In a relationship, just because there's grace there for you to get yourself together, that don't mean that it's fair for you just leave your wife or your husband hanging for years and years and expect for him not to be affected in any kind of way.
Okay, so speaking to not weird situations.
Okay.
Like the not weird, what I just brought up, conversations I've heard that were strange. So not strange situations. So I think also how to cover, because that was the question in the beginning. How do we handle, how do we cover, or how do we not find ourselves in those positions? And I think as we were going and you were talking, you kind of gave some answers, and I think it's the covering one another. These are situations where he doesn't have an issue, she didn't have an issue, but we have to cover one another. I used to hear Bishop Weeks used to talk about that a lot, in that when you walk out of the door, if you're, married couple, practice this. Before you guys depart from one another, you have to be emotionally invested in your spouse before you leave out, and have tried your best to make sure that you're covering one another.
Yeah.
No matter what it is, and we don't need to get graphic and all that stuff. But you just want, no matter how you feel, all these things, make sure you guys are good. Hey, babe, you good? Everything, we good?
Yeah.
What do we need to do? Whatever. And if not, handle your business, whatever that is. And if so, then you're good. There shouldn't be no issues. So if so, then you're good. But you want to make sure you're covering one another. I think that's one way.
Yeah, that is one way. I want to kind of shift and spend the rest of the time talking about singles. So singles, it's important while you're dating, number one, to have those open conversations about what your needs are. You're kind of like, when you're courting someone, don't assume that they know. I think women make this fallacy like, well, I shouldn't have to tell him that I want X. No, you need to tell him how you love to be loved, right? Yeah. What's important to you, what you value, or he won't know, right? It's unfair, honestly, to put that level of weight on someone. So that's one thing I think it's important to communicate your expectations and your needs. The second thing is, as Christian couples are dating, I think it's important that you don't let your good be evil spoken of, and you protect yourself. Yeah. If you find someone attractive and they find you attractive, you want to be with the person, why are y'all doing 11 o'clock movie nights over his house? Why? Why?
Real talk.
You know what? They even say science says after like 8 o'clock, our inhibitions or an inability to say no lessens hour by hour, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. So by 11 o'clock, your ability, because your body is getting into what they call sleep mode or whatever that mode is, your body, the resistance, the ability to resist and say no. So I just think that my suggestion would be that if you're dating, and you desire to be pure before the Lord before you get married, that you set a boundary of, if couples, if you're doing a movie night, invite maybe another couple over, or maybe 6 of them, that have the same values as you, right? Couples dating is great. And that you don't find yourself in those predicaments to where now you repenting like I did. I mean, I had every intention on us making it to the altar, not messing up in that area and not fornicating. And because we didn't have healthy boundaries. We're saying some of this stuff because we didn't set healthy boundaries. I mean, there were times you would stay over my house at 12 o'clock. We watching movies. I would be over your house. And that's just stupid. It's stupid if you really want to remain pure. If you don't, then we don't have nothing to talk about.
I think the more time we spent after hours, I can agree.
Yeah, it wasn't a daytime.
Because in the beginning, I remember I loved being around you. Like I wasn't thinking about anything. We were cool.
Yeah.
And the more time we spent, the later it was. And these are the things we tell our kids. Like, I'm going to have a conversation with my kids about this.
For real, because they're in that dating age and things like that.
And so you want to make sure that, I agree with that, that as time go, like after 8 or whatnot, that whatever that statistic is.
It's time to have a phone conversation. All right, Joe, see you later. I love you.
Yeah.
Because at that point.
But what I'm saying is I'm looking back 18 years and I'm like, I can actually now see where we started compromising more and more and more and more, and we were getting more loose. And and
you get more comfortable around the person, and you feel, obviously you want to be with the person, so there are natural things in play, guys. It's not always spiritual. Like attraction is scientific, right? That's why I believe you can be attracted to more than one person. So if you can be attracted to more than one person, that in my opinion is more than enough reasons for you to set boundaries. Because just because you're married, we talked about this before, just because you're married doesn't mean that you will not find someone else attractive. And just because you're married doesn't mean that you can't have like this instant chemistry with someone. Am I lying? Oh, so that mean it happened to you?
Don't even try it. Y'all see this? Put in the comments. You see this slithering
witchery
serpent?
So it was a serpent conversation, but so if that's the case that you could find somebody attractive, they could find whatever, then you should put boundaries in place.
Absolutely.
Even as single people. So single people, no more movie nights at 12 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night. I suggest you go double dating, go to a movie, go out to a movie.
Yep. Drive separate cars.
And I know quite a few couples that made it to the finish line without fornicating. And some of the things that they would say is that they set boundaries where they didn't do like open mouth kissing.
Yeah.
Like they wouldn't make out, you know what I'm saying? Foreplay, if you want to call it.
Yeah.
They decided they were not going to do that,
right? Because
they wanted to be pure before they married.
Yep.
So y'all might be watching this and be like, girl, that is just way too much. Ain't nobody doing that. Listen, then here I'm going to say on the side of not holding to those values and regretting it, like to the point of tears. That's what it might take for you. Now, some people have a very strong discipline where, they're just very strong discipline, but that's like very few and far in between.
Yeah.
Most people don't have that. I'm serious. I'm serious.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Especially with someone you love, you care about, you're attracted to. You already got all this going for you. Set the boundaries and set yourself up for purity success.
I'm wondering how many engaged couples still hold the value of not fornicating before.
That was the issue with us, because it was like when we got engaged and it was just like, oh, we almost married. I know that sounds crazy. Like